Hello, my name is Leslie Williams, excuse me, and I am in San Diego, California. When I arrived here in San Diego, California for the first time since 2006, when I was out here between 1 and 37 days, when I arrived here for the first time since 2006 on August 8, 2011, the first thing I wanted to do was to go to buy a bike, because I didn't want to make the same mistake that I made when I was out here in San Diego in 2006. I didn't buy a bike. As a result, I was constantly having to carry my stuff with me. And that in turn it added to the physical exhaustion that I was experiencing as a result of running around and experiencing the organized stalking expedition that was happening to me. So when I came out here on August 8, 2011, I said to myself, the first thing I'm going to do is buy a bike, and that way I can ride the bike and find multiple hiking areas. Excuse me. Because I knew I was going to be gang stalked out here again. When I was gang stalked out here in 2006, I didn't know what was happening to me was gang stalking. But I did make some emails describing some of the things that were happening to me. Excuse me, please. So, why am I making this video? I'm making this video because from August 8th, 2011 up until August 11th, 2011, as a result of me going to Walmart over at Stone Cross Plaza and buying a bike, I noticed the landscape that was right by the store. So but on the way to the Walmart, I noticed another landscape off at Hazard Center off of Friars and Frazee Road. So I wrote down what bus number I was on, and then I wrote down the name of Friars and Frazee as we turned onto that road, okay, in order to be able to anchor the location concerning where that first place was. I stayed there that first night after I bought a bike. I got back on the 928 bus and went back over towards Friars and Frazee. Spent the first night there, and then realized it was not a good place for me to hike out at. So then what I did was, I remembered the landscape that was next to Walmart. So I went there the next day, pitched my tent up for 2.5 nights, was gang stalked from the second I got off the Greyhound bus up on my arrival to California, and I was literally even gang stalked on the Greyhound bus coming to here from Connecticut. So what I did was I hiked the tent up close by Stone Cross Plaza Walmart, the landscape that was there. And then I started noticing that I was somewhat far away from a sidewalk, but not far away enough for me to feel comfortable. But as I was taking my tent down for those few days where I was hiking at kind of off a sidewalk, I was taking my tent down every day so the perpetrators wouldn't steal it. And then I was taking it down, deflating it, and folding it up, putting it in a black garbage bag, and then hiding it in the bushes that were behind where the tent was erected at. As a result of hiding it behind the bushes, I noticed a huge area behind the Walmarts. Okay? So I thought to myself, I'll move over there until I can ride my bike around and find other areas. But since the organized stalking, gang stalking expedition started on a feverish scale the second I arrived in San Diego, I started becoming preoccupied with exposing current events online in order to try and keep myself safe. And exposing what was currently happening to me, because I never knew what they were going to do from one day to the next. That in turn kept me preoccupied with that, and as a result I wasn't able to look right away for additional hiking areas. Okay, so I went and I moved on the hill behind the Walmart. Okay, it turned out to be 250 feet, about 200 feet away from the San Diego FBI building, and I had no idea. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. So when I would go to these universities to use the internet to expose what was happening to me currently while camping out there, I was spending more time there than I really actually initially wanted to be. Okay, and the campaign was escalating like you would not believe on a feverish scale along all of my routes, which in turn caused me to be hyper-vigilant in reference to exposing everything that was happening on a daily basis and exposing the fact that I was gang stalked to San Diego again, which in turn preoccupied my time in reference to me not spending time looking for other hiking areas. So I was kind of like being trapped and staying there because my time was being compromised. Yes. Now, when I was coming home from these universities, because I arrived in August, it starts getting dark in September and October around 5 o'clock in San Diego as a result of fall approaching and then winter, okay? So it was getting dark about 5:30. I'd come home at night, and as I was walking down the pathway to go to where my tent was hiked at, set up at, on the hill, right behind Walmart, 200 feet from the FBI building, as I was approaching my tent after dark, guess what I saw? And I even made verbal statements and running digital tape recorders as I saw it, and the next day sometimes. Guess what I saw? I was on a hill, okay? I was on a level part of where the hill was, okay? And then there's an additional hill that goes down, and then that's where the parking lot of Walmart is, and then Walmart's there. So what I saw is at times, in fact, I saw it at least 25 times, as I was approaching my tent after dark on the hill, I would see when I take off my backpack, once I got to my tent, I take off my backpack and I begin to go bend over to unzip the tent, take the tarp off the front of the tent, and then unzip it to get in. Guess what I saw? I saw a flashlight up on the hill behind my tent at this side, and then another one on this side. Two lights going off in synchronicity, way up on the hill. And so I made verbal notes about it in my tape recorder. Listen to this.
Made by the interaction of energies between us and other people. And this, as these energies take place, becomes what's called quantum entanglement. And once that connection is made, it's there forever. You cannot untangle it.
Not this part, even though that part's important. What he's getting ready to say right now.
It doesn't work. And then the physicist Alan Aspect demonstrated that you could split light in two directions and control the polarity of both beams going in the opposite direction at any distance in space and time. This is a big breakthrough in quantum physics, defining what the hologram was. So the hologram basically is an illusion. It's, you know, if I picked up a chair and I said, hey George, where did chairs come from?
So, the point I'm trying to make is that concerning why would these lights, you know, you can look at the radar flash gun or whatever it's called, I forgot what it's called. Go to YouTube and type in Fred Bell, Coast to Coast Fred Bell Electronic Harassment and Warfare. Now, I'm still picking apart what these lights could be responsible for, but I will guarantee you something right now, fellow American citizens and fellow San Diegoans. Do you honestly believe for 1 second that the San Diego FBI want their image tarnished in reference to how a learning disabled woman was subject to at least organized stalking, gang stalking as I was camping out next to them? Yeah, I would get inside of my tent and hear people coughing right up on the hill not far from behind me. Coughing, sneezing, cell phones going off. A couple times when their cell phone ones went off, I heard shit. Because I think they were trying to, I think what they were doing was frustrated because they knew since it went off, I'd probably have heard it. So, this is just a tidbit file in reference to information concerning the factual realities of these expeditions. And in closing, as a result of me knowing that they knew that I was exposing them online, and also they knew that I was making predictions about what they might do next, those predictions were made as a result of bottlenecking the effectiveness of their current strategies and tactics they were utilizing towards me along all my routes. Basically what I'm trying to say is that they had limitations. They could only do so much openly towards me without it being shown that it was happening to me, because they knew I was running around with the tape recorder. I bought the tape recorders right at Walmart. I was getting stalked at Walmart by employees, management, security, and people coming in and acting as customers every time I went in there. So you better believe they were watching my purchases. So they knew I had they knew I was gang stalked and harassed by the people in the electronics department of Walmart as I was buying tape recorders. Okay? So they knew that I had running tape recorders and video cameras, which in turn bottlenecked down what they were able to do directly towards me without, because if they did anything towards me directly, it would be caught on this tape recorder or a video camera. So in turn, that caused them limitations, okay? So in turn, I realized they had limitations, and so what I did was I looked at their limitations and what excuses they would use in order to be able to bring anything anything towards me concerning me or my hiking area concerning where I was hiking at. Now, so what I did was I itemized the excuses that they would use to bring anything about towards me, like evicting me from that hiking area. And what I predicted that concerning the excuses they would use, they did, right down to a T. I said they'd use the property owner or a landscape worker for the property owner to make it appear that they were coming up on a hill to do landscape work, saw my tent as a result, and took it, and then eventually evicted me, and that's what they did. Right down to a T. It was the only excuse they had left without the FBI being directly involved. See, when you evict a target from one place, then they go to another place, and another crime happens to them, you can say this happened to me because I was evicted from one place. I wouldn't even have been in the place I had to go to if I wasn't evicted. So they knew the crimes were going to continue towards me at the next place. They were happening towards me at that place. So to make it appear that I was being caused to move through legitimate reasons, so if any crimes came about towards me at the next place, I couldn't fold it back and say, well, these crimes are happening to me here. They wouldn't have happened to me here if I hadn't been evicted from this place. You see what I'm saying? So they had to make it look like a normal appearing excuse and reason was used to evict me from that hiking area. And the excuse and the street theater they used to do it was described by me to an exact T months before they did it. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. What you have to do as a targeted individual is itemize their methods and tactics, their fears or limitations, how they operate, what they feel that they can safely do, okay, and document it before they do it. So if they do it after the fact, you can fold space and time back on their lap and say, look, I mind my own business everywhere I go. My behavior is appropriate for each and every environment that I go to and for the whole duration of why I'm there. So if anything that's happening towards you that even that you predict, after you predict it, it'll show that this was being covertly managed by a third party. So predict what they might do toward you or around you concerning you in a video file or an audio file or a blog. Okay? Yes. And then when it happens, you can log that as well, fold it back on the previous blog that was made before the event, and then you can show collusion and aiding and abetting, conspiracy, okay, especially if a police officer is involved. That's called conspiracy under the color of authority, gross negligence of duty. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. The whole goal for you is to stay safe, to survive this, expose what's happening to you, and to always remember who you are as a person. What's happening to you is abuse, and never ever let them think that you are a less person than you are, okay? Every single true bona fide targeted individual, I want you to know I love you from the bottom of my heart. I sincerely do. And I hope and pray that you stay safe. I hope you have the ability to feed yourself and take care of yourself and keep warm and to survive this campaign until these criminals can be prosecuted. Please stay safe, okay? And understand this and be clear. While you're being harassed and abused by them, I am with you. I am walking right next to you just like Jesus Christ is, in spirit, in mind, in heart, and soul. Okay, you are worthwhile as a person, so never, ever, ever let them think that you are worthless. And you're not powerless over this. Just use your mind to beat it, and make sure you pray. Okay, I gotta go. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth, and to help my fellow targets. Thank you.